Alright guys, so I stumbled across this very fascinating and I must say, excellent interview from Charlamagne about the hypocrisy of the Democrat Party when it comes to the illegal immigrant issue. As you guys know, that Texas Governor Greg Abbott and Ron DeSantis have been sending migrants to Democrat-run cities like Washington, D.C., New York City, Chicago, and most recently Martha's Vineyard. That has caused a liberal meltdown, right? Liberal outrage everywhere, okay? And the liberals claim that they're outraged about this because they're accusing Ron DeSantis and Greg Abbott of treating these migrants as political props, and even going as far as to accuse them of crimes like human trafficking and kidnapping. But again, the problem here is that the Democrats are really upset because the hypocrisy has been exposed. There's nothing that upsets a Democrat more than their hypocrisy being exposed, especially their hypocrisy when it comes to their fake woke virtue signaling, the holier than thou mentality that they have when it comes to so-called black and brown people. Because despite all of their woke virtue signaling about immigrants, right, and how we should basically have open borders, we should welcome illegals into our country, as soon as those illegals end up in their cities, okay, in their states, all of a sudden they're upset, right? They're melting down despite sanctuary city status. And Charlamagne the God in this segment right here is going to do something that the mainstream liberal media refuses to do, which is to question the liberal panelists on their obvious hypocrisy on this issue. So I want to talk about that. But before I get in that, we must have a word from the sponsor of this video, Noble Gold. Noble Gold CEO Colin Plum thinks quantitative tightening is setting up the stage for a gold rally. In his interview with the National Desk, Plum said the tightening is pushing the dollar up. However, he predicts that by next year, the Fed will print money again to restart economic activities. If you're thinking of gold and silver right now, Noble Gold is giving a free Gold American Eagle coin with every eligible IRA or 401k in September. You can't go wrong with Noble Gold. Call the team now at 877-646-5347 to find out more or visit noblegoldinvestments.com. So without further ado, let's get into it.
For months, Republican governors have sent busloads of illegal immigrants to sanctuary cities like New York, D.C., and Chicago with the message of, if you like them so much, they're yours, okay? Well, just in time for Hispanic Heritage Month, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis upped the game by sending 2 planefolds of immigrants to the East Coast elite's favorite vacation island, Martha's Vineyard, Massachusetts. I personally think it's genius. But I wish that governors like Ron DeSantis and Greg Abbott would give Democratic governors and mayors more of a heads up, because then that would expose the hypocrisy of the Democrats, which is they don't want immigrants here either.
Yeah, so here's the thing about Charlamagne God and his opening here. The Democrats, they don't need a heads up for their hypocrisy to be exposed. Texas not get a heads up, the people just show up, right? And then at that point, we got to figure out what to do. And if we kick them out, we're bigots and we're racist. So we got to take them in because the Democrats told us to, and because the Biden administration refuses to do more to secure the border, right? So with that being said, what's wrong with the Democrats sharing the burden? Even if the migrants turn up unannounced, Democrats, according to their rhetoric, they still should be willing to take care of these migrants. They love black and brown people so much, especially illegal ones. So take them in, right? They're supposed to be refugees, right? You can't just say that, hey, we welcome you, but just because you showed up here unannounced, oh, we got the right to turn you away. That's not how it works. So Charlamagne is right here in the premise that, yeah, this is a genius move. However, his reasoning in regards to him saying that it only can expose the Democrat hypocrisy if they gave him a heads up, I think is nonsense, right? I think that's nonsense. But he knows in his head that this is blatant Democrat hypocrisy, that you can't square the status of sanctuary city, okay, which is supposed to be welcoming of illegals, okay, because, you know, they're not supposed to be harassed by law enforcement in regards to what their immigration status is, and we're supposed to make it easier for you guys to live here without getting your door kicked in by ICE. And what Charlamagne here is going to do is what the mainstream liberal media refuses to do, especially when they have liberal panelists and guests, which is to focus on the hypocrisy instead of letting the liberal guests deflect to other issues that don't have anything to do with the main point of the red state governors making that move in the first place, which is expose their hypocrisy. Okay, it's not about owning the libs, it's about exposing their hypocrisy on this issue, an issue in which the Democrats have essentially placed an unfair burden on red states because they're at the border to take on illegal immigrants, even though they themselves are not as welcoming of illegal immigrants as they claim. He's going to go on to question his mostly liberal panelists about the hypocrisies of the Democrats, and I want you guys to watch the mental gymnastics that goes on here.
Say you panel, Angela Rye.
First of all, I want to just dig deeper into the fact that these folks who are priding themselves on sending not just busloads, but also now plane loads of immigrants to and migrants to countries or to states that have not and are not expecting them.
I thought they were sanctuary cities, though.
It doesn't matter. When you haven't talked to these folks about what your plans are and you're dropping it, it is a political game for them.
I agree.
Wait, okay. Again, so it's a political game when the red state governors have stated time and time again, we don't want these illegals. We're sharing an unfair burden on taking care of them. We want to send them to places and states that have declared themselves illegal friendly. That is a political game, but Democrats who have declared themselves to be sanctuary cities coming out here and pretending that they love the illegals so much when they arrive, but then turn around and kick the illegals out as soon as they get a chance, that's not a political game, right? Or Democrats telling illegals to come to this country and to make that dangerous journey through Central America, which again includes human trafficking that Democrats all of a sudden have started to care about so much, actual real human trafficking. And then when they get here, hope and pray they stay in the red states, right? And don't come to blue states. That's not a political game. I love it how these red state governors, they're being more criticized for following through on their word and being consistent in their philosophy and beliefs when it comes to illegal immigration. However, the Democrats aren't being criticized nearly as much for not following through on their word or being consistent with their policies on paper, right? Again, it's amazing how that works. And what is a shame is that Charlamagne the God is one of the only liberal / leftist progressives that I've seen that are calling Democrat Party out on their hypocrisy when it comes to this issue. Everybody else is focusing on the red state governors are human trafficking and kidnapping illegals, mistreating them. Right? Again, an air-conditioned bus trip and food and shelter to cities and states that claim they love illegals and they're going to take care of them and give them jobs and stuff like that. That is mistreating them, according to the left. Okay, but encouraging them to come to the border, right, and to make that dangerous journey through Central America is not mistreating them. Okay, all right. So, anyways, Charlamagne the God kind of reminds me of Van Jones in the sense that Van Jones and Charlamagne the God, their criticism of the Democrats is always from the left, but they're very good at recognizing the hypocrisy and the faults of the Democrat Party. And their takes on the faults of the Democrat Party I happen to agree with quite a bit, even though I do disagree with a majority of the things that they say in their political philosophies.
And how are you going to tout the Bible? You're the Bible-beating Christian governors. I'm just curious about what kind of Christianity they're practicing. You want to talk about Democrat hypocrisy? I want to call the Republicans on bluff too.
Yeah. What do you think?
Yeah. So here's my problem with this, right? These are the same people that say we should not be making laws based off the Bible, right? That's what they'll say. But in that same sentence, she just said that I want to call out the Republican governor's hypocrisy on not trying to enforce laws based off the Bible, right? So what you're telling me is that you want Republican governors to enforce laws based off the Bible. That's what you're saying. So next time somebody says this is a Christian nation and that we need laws based off the Bible and Christianity, I don't want to hear you say anything. Because these governors, these Christian governors, are supposed to do what the Bible says or what you think the Bible says about illegal immigration, which I would be very curious as to see what passages Angela Ree here cites from the Bible to support her position of open borders. But I'm just saying, these people have now gone as far as to advocate for governors enforcing laws based off the Bible. Yeah, I'm just saying. When they told us in the past, hey, you're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to do that.
Thank Michael.
I'm with Angela. This is
now you with Angela.
Oh, if
You're
I don't want to fight no more, huh?
in fact, we have more in common.
I know the feeling.
No, how are we in a situation in our country when we're treating people who want to come here, who think highly enough of America that they want to risk their lives to come here, and we're treating them like props in some kind of political stunt?
What I hate.
Again, that's what these people are focused on, man. They don't want to address the hypocrisy. They just don't want to just say, hey, look, why in the world do you have these blue state governors and mayors whom say they love these illegals, kicking them out, not wanting them? That's the actual real question. Because honestly, let's be real. If Democrats were serious about their rhetoric of loving illegals in sanctuary cities, they would be welcoming what Ron DeSantis and Greg Abbott are doing. They say, yes, you guys use your taxpayer money to send us the illegals that we love so much. And we'll take them in and we'll take care of them and we'll show you guys that we're serious. And the crazy part about this is that Democrats refuse to do this, even though it would be the logical move. It would be the counter move, okay, against the Republican governors. And it would make the Democrats look less like hypocrites and phonies, okay, which they've been exposed as fakes and phonies. If they just took them in and say, hey, look, well, these are refugees. Because a lot of them are. They're refugees from Venezuela. So you take them in and you say, look, guys, these are refugees. We're not turning refugees away. They're seeking asylum. And all the Democrats had to do is just do that for like a week, okay? And then the story dies down because at that point, the story's over, right? Oh, Republicans are sending illegals to blue states. Blue states are just taking them in and taking care of them. It makes Democrats look, again, consistent, right, on this issue, and nobody cares anymore. And then once people stop caring, then you can kick them out, right? Like Lori Lightfoot did, because we know that's what they want to do. But no, Democrats couldn't even stomach the migrants that they claim they love so much for even 24 hours in some cases. Couldn't stomach them, even from a temporary period of time. Democrats played this issue so wrong. All they had to do was just put a smile on their face and just pretend like they loved it and said nothing to the red state governors about it. Don't say anything. Just wait till the story becomes a non-issue. And then you could have did everything that you wanted to do. You could have kicked them out in quiet, right? And nobody would have heard about it. You wouldn't look nearly as bad. But Democrats got themselves in this situation by claiming they love the illegals so much while at the same time raging against the red state governors for sending them. That logically doesn't make sense, right? To the common person, they're going to look at it and be like, this is totally hypocritical. Totally hypocritical.
Hate is the fact that a lot of these immigrants are being sent to these cities, and these are the same cities that ship out their homeless people to the outside counties. So a lot of these Democratic cities
That's fair.
that are, oh, we love people and we love people. Hey, homeless man, get your ass up. Like they deliberately hide people already. So a lot of these Democrats that are complaining about the Republicans are running something similar within their own counties.
Wouldn't y'all rather have them be shipped to sanctuary cities as opposed to being in states where they don't want them anyway, though?
Ding, 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 ding. Again, another great question from Charlamagne the God. This dude gets it. So again, he's like Van Jones. On certain things, he gets it. He understands. On other things, he's just completely wrong. On this, is like, again, wouldn't you rather have them in a place where they say they're wanted than a place that's supposed to be so evil and racist and backwards? Right, according to the left, like Texas and Florida, these red states. Again, wow.
I think that we have got to have some humanity and compassion about this conversation. What we know is that policy-wise, the country has failed immigration for a very long time. Immigration reform proposals don't do enough. I also think that in the backdrop of what's happened in Ukraine and the billions of dollars that this country has sent to Ukraine, why can't we use those same resources to figure out what to do with immigrant populations here?
All right, so here's the thing about immigration reform. Well, Democrats don't want to close the border. Again, Democrats are the same on immigration reform that they are on the student loan debt thing. Okay, they want to just give people a pass. They want to give student loan debt borrowers a pass, a mulligan, for taking out mass amounts of debt, okay, and going to school. Just like they want to give illegals a mulligan for coming here illegally, but on both of those issues, they don't want to fix the core issue, which with student loan debt is the fact that the government is actually in the business in the first place, right? Which is driving up costs because they will literally pay for anybody to go to school, regardless of whether or not there's a positive return on investment. And when it comes to illegal immigration and immigration reform, it's the fact that the border is not secure enough. We're letting too many people into this country. So every few years ago, so we're having the same conversation about, well, we got a lot of illegals here that are already living here. We might as well just give them amnesty, right? And then we rinse and repeat, and we're doing the same thing again in the next few years, okay?
The difference is that most of them are of a browner hue. Mm-hmm. And the truth is that Ron DeSantis, Greg Abbott, and others are terrified about what happens when there is a browning of their states.
We know this. That's why they're shipping them out.
I'm clear. I'm very clear about that. So I don't think that,
Knowing what we know about Texas.
Okay, so why are Democrats shipping them out, right? If there's such a net positive, why are Democrats doing the same thing? Why don't Democrats want them? I haven't heard this addressed yet. The only thing I've heard is, well, they got them there without notice. Them showing up on no notice is not an excuse not to take them in. It's not. Because if that's the case, then again, Texas and Florida should be able to reject all the illegals that show up to their borders. The countries that they came from didn't give them an advance notice or formal notice ahead of time. Right? We're going that type of logic.
Texas, if you're giving people a free trip out of Texas, that's a come up.
Yeah.
There you go. Exactly.
I think the question's broader. One of the best books I've read recently is a book called 1 Billion Americans, which asks the question, how many Americans do we want, right? Look at this country, and he argues the guy, Matt Iglesias, who wrote it, argues very persuasively that this country would work really well with 1 billion people. Well, we're at 380 million, so we got, 620 to go.
Yeah.
So I think we should be welcoming people. We should be...
Yeah, no, we should be welcoming everybody, bruh. Right? Again, these leftists, I don't understand why is it that they want to take in a bunch of people that we know nothing about, we don't know who they are, they haven't been vetted. Why do you want to take in all these people? We've taken in a lot of people in this country. We've been very nice and welcoming to people in this country. We're a country made of immigrants, right? We're a country made of immigrants. But at some point, we got to have some controls, right? We have to have a process that makes sense to make sure we understand who we're getting. Okay, we can't take in everybody. We can't open our borders to everybody, because if we did, then everybody would try to come here and everybody would try to be here, and we can't do that. We can't have that.
Be opening the borders. I don't understand why people are so upset about right? We should all. Charlamagne, you. That's a useful. Yes, that would be very useful, and I'm sure you'll do your part.
Everybody got to go full.
I've done my part. I have 4 children.
4 daughters.
Okay.
Yeah.
By the way, they're still sending buses with immigrants here to New York, as if that's supposed to scare New Yorkers. Okay. Buses filled with immigrants in New York City are just called buses. Okay.
Well, apparently they're scaring the Democrats, right? They're scaring the Democrat mayors. Again, as you see, the Charlamagne the God still is coming at this from a woke perspective, okay, citing racism and stuff like that, which has nothing to do with this whatsoever. But he knows that the Democrats are massive hypocrites on this. And I at least appreciate the fact that he was willing to question liberals on their apparent hypocrisy, even though they basically refuse to address the hypocrisy because they know that they're hypocrites for this issue. But anyways, let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.